Yeah, she's tough. Certainly wasn't fair. A lot of years in front of him yet, and just starting to live.
What are you thinking then?
I'm thinking someone took them, did something. Especially if you can't find the boat. Bodies don't turn up nowhere.
I want the truth. Maddie and Ty deserve justice. They haven't got any justice, and there's no way that they'll be at peace until they do.
I've never left anybody out here, whether it's a stranded vessel or whether it's a person to be found. Those two were the only individuals that I couldn't help.
They said, well, this is where they could have been, but we missed them. Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
They were all told, whoever's cutting up the nets can stand up now, or when we catch you out there, you're gonna pay for it.
If I'm fishing like that, I'm cutting those off right away. I'm getting rid of them. Just makes no sense.
Wouldn't listen to us. They were no good after. Closed investigation.
What do you think, though, sitting down with me? Just to say, you know what, enough's enough.
I mean, enough is enough. Like, even that I got to talk about it 7 years later.
On the night of April 26, 2015, Tyler Miracle and Maddie Fairman were in a 14-foot aluminum boat just like this one. Their plan was to go spearfishing on the Bay of Quinte, not far from their home on Tynega Mohawk territory. Despite being fully equipped to spear, police claim they instead stole fish from another fisherman's net, overloading their boat before drowning in this shallow channel known as Telegraph Narrows. It never made sense to the families, some of whom are fishermen themselves. It was clear that if I was going to investigate what happened on the water that night, I had to go fishing. I had to see for myself. It's something the families wish police had done.
You see that island out there?
Yeah.
Straight out? That's where we gotta go.
Josh Miracle is a seasoned Mohawk fisherman, and he's taking me to where Maddie and Tyler were found. We'll cast one of his nets and pull it back in. It's not the same conditions that Maddie and Tyler would have been in, but I feel it immediately. One wrong move, and the boat is tipping over.
Yeah, even that, man. You like lean forward a little bit, eh? I know they're probably, I'm not used to doing it, so I get that.
Different types of cement weights are used to hold the nets down.
Then just put all the net in the box. Yeah.
And they can be awkward to pull in. They can also bang up against the boat, making a loud noise. Something a thief would likely try to avoid on the water in the quiet of the night. When Tyler's boat was finally recovered, there were several of these weights in the boat. This one here is a patio stone. The families and fishermen I spoke to say it's absurd that they would keep the weights.
Yeah, so like, if I'm fishing like that, I'm cutting those off right away. I'm getting rid of them. Just makes no sense.
The boat had a maximum weight capacity of 700 pounds. With everything else in the boat, including Maddie and Tyler, police said they were already close to capacity. Then police said Maddie and Tyler pulled in so much fish, And this is a direct quote from police. It might be enough to fill the back of a pickup truck.
I've never heard anybody getting that many. Not in a long time.
They would have been pulling, they would have been tipping over and they would have went down.
Yeah, you've seen the water starting to come in, you start throwing the net back out.
And it definitely wouldn't have went straight down.
I wouldn't think so.
But that's what police told the families. The boat didn't flip over, but was swamped, meaning it filled with water and went down, resting flat on the bottom of the bay just like this. Like the 2 car batteries in the front didn't even budge. As a fisherman himself, it never added up to Robin. And the pain of it all is just below the surface, 8 years later.
Just miss him so bad. It was always me and him.
There's more things that don't add up. The autopsy on Tyler found 2 pieces of short string in his stomach, and the family says the coroner simply discarded the evidence. They also wanted the water in his lungs tested for the source, but the family says the coroner refused. As for Matty, it was believed he had a possible fractured jaw. A second autopsy apparently ruled that out. But clearly, the biggest issue is, how did the police miss the boys and their boat if they were in the water the entire time? After all, 4 days after they went missing, the OPP's underwater search and rescue team promised the families that their sons weren't in the water. Records obtained by APTN show this specialized unit thoroughly searched the channel with what's known as side scan sonar. Side scans search at constant speeds and in straight lines, allowing the police to map the bay's bottom as it travels. Hard objects from the bottom send a strong echo and create a dark image. Mud and sand send weaker echoes and create light areas. These lines show where police searched for Matty and Tyler. If there was a dark image, police divers were sent down to inspect. Looking at this, it's easy to see why the rescue team also didn't believe Matty and Tyler were in the water. Especially considering that same side scan sonar produced images like this. It's of a different boat that police quickly found during the search, just a few hundred feet from where Matty and Tyler eventually turned up. And this boat had been in the water for years, not hours or days. This dock was ground zero for many people in the community during the search for Matty and Tyler. And that includes Quinte Search and Rescue, a not-for-profit volunteer marine unit out of nearby Belleville, Ontario. Paul Papke is their unit leader, and he's agreed to show me how their sonar works.
So basically we have a transducer at the back of our boat that's sending a signal down, and it's bouncing back up, and that's where you see the line there. We're in 4.8 feet of water, and the line is solid down there. So if you got a dip in the thing, it'll go up and down and everything else like that. And basically, it's not as sophisticated as the police one, but it tells you what's down on the bottom. It tells you the contour of the bottom.
First try with the hook. Missed.
The unit is also part of the Canadian Coast Guard Auxiliary and was paid to be there on the first day of the search.
And afterwards, not tasked by the Coast Guard, I spent the next week out here, 8 hours a day, doing the same thing with our equipment, doing searching with volunteer members from our group, searching. So we basically covered the whole body of water out here other than shallow spots with our boat and our sonar.
What was it like out here?
So it was early on in the year, but it was a decent day out here, no visibility issues or anything else like that. And the rest of the week was probably, if I remember correctly, it was a while ago, was decent. Like it wasn't snowy, wet, rainy, or anything else like that.
There's a lot of people in the water searching. I know a lot of community members
Yes,
involved.
there was an extraordinary amount of people here. A lot of members from the reserve down here, as well as their fire department, the OPP. There were boats galore down here. Yes, lots.
After 14 years with Quinte Search and Rescue, Papke knows these waters.
Turn your no, other way, yeah.
He's done 200 missions,
We'll go straight back. Sounds good.
but there's only one where he couldn't bring people home.
I've never left anybody out here, whether it's a stranded vessel or whether it's a person to be found. Those two were the only individuals that I couldn't help.
Tyler, please stay home tonight. Don't go anywhere. Don't go fishing tonight. No, Mom, I'm going. He went. And I was so frustrated that night, like I just don't know. I just went to bed and I just don't feel right about him going tonight.
Call it a mother's instinct. Tammy Miracle had a bad feeling. She always worried anytime Tyler went fishing. But this time it was different.
He'd always wake me up when he got home. Never wake his dad up, always wake me up and say, "Oh, Mom, it's so fun, it's so much fun. I got this many fish. Tell Dad in the morning that start cleaning them and I'll get up and help him." And he'd get up at noon and he'd help his dad, and he'd make sure all the elderly on the road had, a feed of fish and all that. But there was just something that I didn't want him to go that night.
Grieving family and community members of a Tyendinaga Mohawk man are holding a sit-in at the community police station. Their quiet protest aims to spark some movement.
So how long do you plan to stay?
Till I know that it's third party takes over and does a full investigation into it with like a criminal investigation.
Tammy's protest in September of 2020 triggered authorities to reopen the investigation into Maddie and Tyler. But this time, it would be led by the Ontario Provincial Police, not Tyendinaga Police. The families believe their police never did a proper investigation.
Wouldn't listen to us, tried to tell them. Wouldn't listen to anything we said. They were no good after, closed investigation. So many times I've called them, I've told them lots, to be honest, and they just, oh, that was nothing.
Months after the investigation reopened, the OPP made this presentation to the families on September 13th, 2021. Police said they spent 8 days going through their records of sonar images of the underwater search and found grainy, dark images that could have been Maddie and Tyler. But police stressed that they couldn't be certain one way or the other.
They said, well, this is where they could have been, but we missed them. Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
They are seen here as sonar target 1 and target 2. it was of little use to the families. Police believed, however, that sonar images appeared to show a part of the boat there the entire time. It was obscured by the nets, they said. They just somehow missed it over and over. While the OPP have been more receptive to her telephone calls, it's been several years and still no new information. That is, until this past summer. That's when Tammy took matters into her own hands again and finds something neither she or the police knew about. That includes her son Tyler visiting with this man, Will Fisher, hours before he went missing. Tyler had information about a secret meeting.
Tyler was talking to you the night before. That's what I want to talk to you about.
But you didn't know that?
No.
Oh. He started telling me that he needed my help, and I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, some people are going to invite you to a meeting tonight, but don't go. And I'm like, what's it about? So he told me all this stuff about what was going on with the fishing.
Sure enough, according to Fisher, someone did show up later that night to invite him to the meeting.
I thought it was strange. Like, how did Tyler know that they were going to come and ask me to go to the meeting?
Fisher told Tammy the identity of the person who came to see him. But he said he never went to the meeting like Tyler asked, and later heard an ultimatum was made.
What I heard was they were all told, whoever's cutting up the nets can stand up now and admit to it, or when we catch you out there, you're going to pay for it. And nobody stood up.
Were you out in the water on your own boat?
I spoke to several fishermen who'd heard about this meeting, but they told me they weren't there. Tammy also told the OPP about the meeting, and until she told them, they had no idea about it. I also confirmed that several weeks later, police were out trying to talk to some of the same people I'd spoken to. And not just about the meeting, but other suspicious behavior that Tammy uncovered. While there's no direct evidence of foul play, the family identified to police a number of people they suspect know something about what happened that night. That includes Kevin Brandt, a citizen of Tyendinaga. This is his property on the shores of Telegraph Narrows, and it was his nets found in Tyler's boat. This map shows where his property is in relation to where Maddie and Tyler were found.
What do you think, though, sitting down with me, just to say, you know what, enough's enough?
I'm not really interested. I mean, enough is enough. Like, even that I got to talk about it 7 years later.
I know.
They asked me a few months ago if I wanted to do another police interview, and I said, you know what, I'm done. It's behind me. It's not going to change what they think.
Brandt said the OPP had been after him for a while. He said the OPP even dug up information going back to his childhood.
Well, I mean, the best investigator, they say, in Ontario sat down and, like, it wasn't just an interview, it was like a full life profile of me. Like, he profiled me for a long time. And then they tried to hire a private investigator, try to get you, like, they're thinking that someone's gonna suck some kind of information out of me that this best guy in Ontario didn't do, this OPP guy.
He said the OPP also tried to get him to take a lie detector test.
I said for a couple of years, yeah, and then the police said, well, only if the family will agree to put it to an end. And then they wouldn't agree to put it to an end. Then a year later, it comes back up. Finally, about the third time, I said, no fucking tests, no interviews, I'm fucking done. It's way in the past for me. Keep bringing it back up. They have to live with it, I don't.
It's a parent's worst nightmare living with it. The loss of a child, especially and suspicious circumstances.
It's a tough go. I wouldn't wish it upon nobody.
Robin taught Tyler how to fish on these waters.
Even if we got some closure, we might be all right, but we still never got that. Which I hope we do one day.
Now they just haunt him.
I don't even think I've went out fishing since. I just have no urge to anymore, and I just don't care to. All my friends like me to go fishing, but I don't go. Too hard on me. Too many memories. Just breaks my heart. Just go fishing with him all the time.
Coming up on APTN National News.
I think they said it was right here and between these trees.
I keep searching for answers, and so do the families. That means digging up Tyler's boat and all the evidence that was once buried with it.
It's not even fair that we have to do this. That's all.
It should have been done a long time ago.
Exactly.
Not us.